first daughter and White House advisor Ivanka Trump falsely claimed during an interview with Good Morning America Wednesday that President Trump had not authorized U.S. military troops to use lethal force on migrants at the U.S. border with Mexico. "Your father has authorized lethal force," he says, "if necessary. Does that concern you?" Asked ABC News correspondent Deborah Roberts. "I don't believe that that's what he said, but his primary role as the nation's commander-in-chief is obviously to protect our nation's borders. He has to protect our country's security," Trump responded, scoffing at the question. "But I don't lethal force, in this case that is not, I think, something that anyone's talking about." In fact, just last week, Trump confirmed that he has given the okay to use lethal force on the border. "If they have to, they've got to use lethal force. I've given the okay, yeah, if they have to. I hope they don't have to." When Roberts confronted Ivanka with the clip of her father discussing his authorization, the first daughter backtracked and clarified, "So lethal force, under any circumstance, would be the last resort. But he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of this country, so he always has to be able to protect the border. He's not talking about innocents. So he's not talking about innocent asylum seekers." Roberts asked, "Have you weighed in?" "Oh, of course," Trump responded. "I mean, no one wants to see anyone get hurt, and I think that for many months we've talked about finding that bipartisan solution, fixing this border crisis. And no one can now look at the situation we have with the caravans and say that our border is not in crisis. It is." When Roberts pressed Ivanka on the images of mothers and infants who were hit with tear gas over the weekend while trying to enter the United States as part of a caravan of asylum seekers fleeing Central America, "I think, like any other person with a heart, it's devastating to see the images and seeing children put at risk," Trump said about seeing the images of mothers and infants who were hit with tear gas over the weekend while trying to enter the United States as part of a caravan of asylum seekers fleeing Central America. "Running towards the border is heartbreaking. There's no other way to process it. It also makes me angry," she continued. "It makes me angry that we haven't been able to come together as a nation and change our laws.